Hi and welcome to section 3.1 for Econ 1 on the AQA exam board. What will we see today? Today we'll be looking at production and productivity and specialisation and the division of labour. So let's start with production and productivity. Production is the process of converting inputs into outputs. The inputs will be the factors of production, which are land, labour, capital, and the fourth one is entrepreneurship, who is the individual who combines the three previous factors of production together to produce goods and services. Productivity is a measure of output per unit of inputs. The more productive workers are, the more goods and services they will produce for a given amount of input. This reduces the cost of production, which causes a lower cost per unit. Therefore, firms will always strive to become as productive as possible because a greater level of productivity makes them more competitive and can increase their profit levels. Productivity is an important aspect in relation to the growth of an economy. We will explore the relationship between productivity and economic growth in more detail in Unit 2, but it's good to go over it briefly now. An economy can grow in two ways. One way is that you work your factors of production harder, i.e. you use more resources, you make labour work longer hours, you use capital more intensively. The other way that we can have economic growth is through increases in productivity. This means that you work your factors of production the same, but you see an increase in the amount of output that they produce. Economic growth through increases in productivity is really what an economy should be aiming for. This is because the country's workers will not want to work longer hours, as this leaves the workers with less leisure time. Also, we do not want to exhaust all of our resources in the pursuit of economic growth. But how can we increase productivity? One way we can increase productivity is through investment. If firms invest in new machinery that is very productive, that will cause productivity to increase. Another way we can increase productivity is through innovation. This is innovation in the production process and innovation in the capital or the machinery that we are using to produce our goods and services. A final method is training and retraining. This is especially focused on labour productivity, and if firms invest in training and retraining their workers, it will result in labour productivity rising. Growth in productivity needs to be monitored by authorities such as the government and the Bank of England. At the moment, the UK economy is seeing very low productivity growth in comparison to the trend rate of productivity growth. This is known as the productivity puzzle, and we will explore this in more detail in Econ 2. Let's now look at the division of labour. The division of labour is a process that splits down production into separate smaller tasks, with each task being performed by a single or a group of workers. By breaking down the production process into smaller tasks, the division of labour increases productivity. This is because the workers are able to specialise and master the one task that they have been given. Also, the division of labour reduces the skills required by each worker as they have fewer jobs to master. This means that firms can then pay workers a lower wage, and this makes production cheaper for firms, and firms are then able to make more profit. Also, the division of labour reduces the amount of training time that has to be given to workers because the tasks are smaller and easier to pick up. Let's have a look at the division of labour in a restaurant. The first task in a restaurant is the meet and greeter, who greets you at the door and takes you to your table. Then you will have someone from the bar who comes over and takes your drinks orders. After this, you will have a waiter who takes your food orders. There will then be a group of chefs in the kitchen that will make your food and bring it out to you. When you have finished your meal, your waiter will clear the table, and then a washer-upper will clear all the plates and get them ready for the next guest. Imagine how much longer it would take if the same individual was to complete all those jobs. They greeted you at the front, they then made your drinks, they then took your order and then cooked your food. The same meal that usually takes about 45 minutes may take a couple of hours if this individual was to complete all of these different tasks. The division of labour also occurs a lot on a production line, for example, a car production line. Let's have a look at some of the positives and negatives of the division of labour. One clear positive from the division of labour is that there is a greater level of efficiency and higher productivity. This is because workers can specialise in the tasks that they have been given. Also, as workers always carry out one task, it gives them time to experiment and discover new and better ways of doing things. This results in innovation in the production process and can increase output and save the firm money. However, there is one big negative for the division of labour, and this is because workers are carrying out the same and very repetitive jobs. This can cause the workers to become bored and disinterested with the work, which may result in productivity falling, mistakes occurring, absent workers, and could cause the labour turnover for the firm to increase.